Hey everyone, welcome. On this channel, we're going to get into an advanced look at the story Disastrous Necromancer. Come with me as we unravel the journey of Lin Moyu, from his beginnings to him becoming a force to be reckoned with in a mysterious new world. If this story sounds like something you'll enjoy, please like, share, and comment. Your support helps us keep providing these in-depth looks into the world of Disastrous Necromancer. Now let's continue.
After reviewing all the summoning spells, Lin Moyu did not rush to check other spells. He carefully felt the changes in the summoning spells. Among all the spells, the importance of summoning spells is self-evident and indispensable. At the same time, they are also the most special category because they have spell linkage and the enhancement of the 9-star spell. Spell linkage provides convenience for summoning spells, and the 9-star spell provides powerful amplification for summoning spells. Without the enhancement of the 9-star spell, any type of skeleton summoned before would have been at least 2 levels lower. The 9-star spell is like the amplification in talents. The combination of the two gave Lin Moyu the ability to fight across levels. Now, after the spell fusion, the 9-star spell is gone. The 3 types of skeletons were replaced by the Skeleton God General, reducing by 2 stars. The Death Knight and the Bone Dragon fused, reducing by 1 star. The 9-star spell became a 6-star spell, greatly weakening the amplification effect. But because the spell became a white star level, the spell was enhanced at the basic level. Whether the overall enhancement or weakening occurred, Lin Moyu had to carefully feel it to draw a conclusion. As he continued to resonate with the white star level spells, his expression became strange. The amplification did not change, still maintaining the amplification level of the 9-star spell. The change in the number of spells brought by the spell fusion did not affect the amplification of the 9-star spell. Truly incredible. Lin Moyu clicked his tongue in wonder, realizing he had underestimated the ability of infinite fusion. So, does this mean that the previous Bone Hell also maintained the amplification of the 3-star spell? I was careless before, not feeling it properly. But it's not too late now. Lin Moyu immediately turned his attention to Bone Hell. Bone Hell, white star level, transform a designated area into Bone Hell, which connects to the real Hell. All enemies within will be attacked by the power of Hell. Terrifying evil spirits from the real Hell will be born in Bone Hell, and all those who die in Bone Hell will have their true spirits absorbed by the evil spirits. The more power absorbed, the stronger the evil spirits will become, and their numbers will increase accordingly. As long as the real Hell is not destroyed, Bone Hell will never be destroyed. Even if shattered, it will recover after a certain time. As the master of Bone Hell, you will be protected by Hell at all times. Bone Hell will mark all attackers, and once marked, they cannot escape your soul lock. After the sublimation of Bone Hell, significant changes occurred. Originally formed by the fusion of 3 different spells, it had multiple characteristics, so changes were normal. Bone Hell no longer housed external slaves but instead birthed its own evil spirits. Those who died in Bone Hell became nourishment for the evil spirits. The more people who died inside, the stronger the evil spirits became, and their numbers increased. At the same time, it could not be destroyed. As long as the real Hell existed, it would always exist. Moreover, Lin Moyu could passively receive protection and mark attackers. Bone Hell became more perfect and powerful. Lin Moyu sighed, this is truly a great weapon, but unfortunately, my mount is gone. The amplification of the 3-star spell indeed did not disappear. After some sensing, Lin Moyu confirmed that the amplification of the 3-star spell still existed. In this way, the amplification effect of the 9-star spell still existing was also reasonable. Lin Moyu felt a bit like he was worrying unnecessarily, smiled self-deprecatingly, and continued to look at other spells. Corpse Explosion, white star level, detonate a corpse or remains, causing damage equivalent to 100% of the corpse's vitality before death to the targeted enemy. Can attack multiple targets simultaneously. The more targets, the more the damage is weakened and distributed. The attack ignores all obstacles and time limits. Corpse Explosion also changed. The attack power was reduced from 150% of the corpse's vitality before death to 100%. The spell level changed from star level to white star level, but the power was reduced from 150% to 100%, which was hard to understand. Until Lin Moyu received the last piece of information. Ignoring all obstacles and time limits. The first half represented space, including visible and invisible obstacles, such as formations and secret realms. In other words, as long as the soul could lock on, Lin Moyu could even attack enemies across secret realm spaces with Corpse Explosion. The second half's time limit was even more exaggerated. Lin Moyu couldn't help but wonder, could it attack enemies in the future or the past? Another question he couldn't understand, but he believed the spell was enhanced, just that he didn't know how to use it yet. Never mind, I'll understand in the future. Next. Lin Moyu, like a general reviewing his troops, continued to inspect the next spell. Wings of the Undead, White Star level. Summon the Wings of the Undead, driven by soul power for flight. The speed is determined by the strength of the soul power, with no upper limit. At a certain level, it can trigger the laws of space. The changes in Wings of the Undead were not significant, triggering the laws of space, which Lin Moyu was also aware of. Lin Moyu nodded. Very good, you are the template for the laws of space. He had long planned that after becoming a god, the second law he would comprehend would be the laws of space. How to comprehend it was to use the Wings of the Undead to trigger the laws of space as a reference. Having a reference made a world of difference in comprehending the laws. He had a natural advantage, and if he didn't use it well, it would be a waste. Besides the laws of space brought by the Wings of the Undead, Lin Moyu also planned to comprehend another law, the laws of time brought by the curse spells. The fusion of the 3 curse spells could give birth to a trace of the laws of time. This could also serve as a good reference for his comprehension. Comprehending 2 first-tier laws might slow down the cultivation speed of the god realm, but as long as he gained something, the final benefits would definitely outweigh the costs. The fusion of the curse spells continued, and as the sublimation neared its end, the difficulty of fusion increased. It was clear that Infinite Fusion was working hard, and Lin Moyu took the time to check other spells. Gaze of the Undead, White Star level. Summon the Eye of the Undead from the world of the Undead, causing soul damage to the target. The stronger the summoner's soul, the stronger the attack. It is not limited by the number of targets, ignores all obstacles, and time limits. Like Corpse Explosion, it ignored the limitations of space and time. The power should not be weak, as his soul was strong. Next. The remaining spells were all passive spells. Status Immunity, White Star level. The Master and his summons are immune to all negative statuses. Undying Undead, White Star level. Members of the Undead Legion do not truly die after receiving fatal attacks. They can choose to revive in place or return to the spell White Star according to the Master's will. Each member has 6 chances to revive within 90 seconds. Physical Resistance, White Star level. Passive spell. Summons are immune to ordinary physical attacks. All law-based physical damage is reduced 5-fold, and rule-based physical damage is reduced 1-fold. Elemental Resistance, White Star level. Passive spell. Summons are immune to ordinary elemental damage. All law-based elemental damage is reduced 5-fold, and rule-based elemental damage is reduced 1-fold. The 4 passive spells were all upgraded to the White Star level. Except for Status Immunity, which remained unchanged, the effects of the other spells were all enhanced. The 2 resistance spells became even more powerful in reducing damage from laws, and combined with talents, would further increase the combat power of the Undead Legion. Especially noteworthy was the added ability to reduce damage from rules. This would make the Undead Legion more durable when facing beyond realm beings. If these effects had existed earlier, Lin Moyu would have felt more confident when facing the Abyssal Dragon Demon or the future Buddha. Unfortunately, these 2 spells no longer provided damage reduction for Lin Moyu himself as the Master. These 2 spells had become specialized for the Undead Legion, seemingly no longer related to the Master. Lin Moyu immediately understood the reason. As his realm increased, he had fewer opportunities to participate in battles himself. Most battles were fought by the Undead Legion. Especially after reaching the Divine Realm, the number of undead would inevitably increase greatly. Even though several summoning spells had been merged, the total number would definitely exceed 1 billion. There was no need for him to personally join the battles anymore. Moreover, the damage reduction effect of damage transfer had increased to 5-fold. Combined with the increased numbers of the Undead Legion, there would be more members to share the damage. This also enhanced their survival ability. Lin Moyu was very clear that his own survival ability far surpassed that of any Divine Realm being. Most spells had completed their sublimation. Now only the 3 curse spells remained. Infinite Fusion was still working hard to merge them, seemingly approaching the final stage, just needing one last push. Lin Moyu took the opportunity to check on the 2 origin spells. He found their fusion degree had increased to 200%, but they had not undergone a qualitative change. They were still star-level spells. It seemed the qualitative change of origin spells was not so simple. It may require not just fusion degree, but also some specific catalyst. Looking at Infinite Fusion, the situation was the same. Its fusion degree had also increased to 200%, but there was no qualitative change. As the spell fusion neared its end, a peculiar aura emanated. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's soul trembled violently as a rune appeared out of thin air in his soul world. This rune carried a cursed aura and pressed down towards his soul. The Great World Rune curse that had been repelled before now reappeared, and its power seemed even stronger than before. Unfortunately, it came a bit too late. Lin Moyu's spells that needed to be sublimated had already completed the process. If it had come earlier, it might have caused some minor trouble. But now. Lin Moyu gave a cold laugh. His vision was now far superior to before, and he could see clearly. You are merely a curse derived from the Great World Rune. I don't know why you want to suppress me or what your purpose is, but I just want to tell you, you couldn't restrict me before, and you have even less chance in the future. His soul stood up abruptly, gripping the Scourge Scepter tightly. The enormous world tree sensed Lin Moyu's will and began frantically waving its branches, whipping towards the curse rune. The curse rune was whipped and shaken violently, constantly distorting, but it still persistently pressed towards Lin Moyu. Having faced the Great World Curse several times, Lin Moyu was no longer the novice he once was. The soul-shooting bow appeared above his head, fully drawn. 10 drops of rainbow water flew out and merged into the bow. A flash of purple light, and a purple arrow shot directly at the curse rune. With a bang, the curse rune was shot back some distance, but then charged towards Lin Moyu again. The world tree's branches fell heavily, forming an impenetrable wall of branches. The curse rune crashed into the branch wall, emitting wisps of red smoke along with wailing sounds. A hole was corroded in the branch wall. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal flew out and frantically collided with the curse rune. Dragon roars resounded as the 9-colored dragon soul crystal was knocked away, but the curse rune was also weakened somewhat. Lin Moyu raised the Scourge Scepter and actively went to meet it. Like swatting a fly, he heavily smacked the Scourge Scepter onto the rune. The rune was forcefully smacked away, nearly shattering on the spot. The power of that blow from the Scourge Scepter was too great. This was the hardest weapon Lin Moyu currently knew of. Whatever it hit would be smashed. Whether it was the rainbow water or the rainbow dragon, both were smashed apart with one hit. The curse rune being able to withstand one blow was already praiseworthy. The curse rune glowed red, seemingly frightened by Lin Moyu. It suddenly turned and no longer targeted Lin Moyu, but instead rushed towards the spell White Stars. The spell White Stars had just completed their sublimation and were still wrapped in laws. The curse rune was repelled several times as it tried to attack, all to no avail. At this moment, a bolt of lightning shot out, striking the curse rune with pinpoint accuracy. The entire soul world lit up. The curse rune let out a wail, nearly dispersing. Lin Moyu clearly saw this lightning bolt came from the curse spell White Star. The 3 curse spell stars had finally completed their fusion, merging into one. It was pure white all over, with electric snakes coiling around it. Bolts of lightning continuously shot out from the spell White Star, striking the curse rune. The infinite fusion spell star was beside it, like a commander, directing where to attack. The curse rune seemed to be frightened and began to flee. Please give flowers. Infinite fusion whooshed after it in pursuit. The newly fused spell White Star followed behind, infinite fusion, like a lackey, continuously shooting out lightning. This scene made Lin Moyu both amused and exasperated. It's still a derivative of the Great World Rune after all. Give it some face. But he only thought this, not saying it out loud. The curse rune fled desperately while Infinite Fusion led its lackey in hot pursuit, relentlessly crushing it. In the end, the curse rune had nowhere left to run. It randomly chose a spell and forcefully crashed into it. Bang! The curse rune collided with a spell, and the spell shattered. Lin Moyu stared blankly at this scene, quite speechless. Can this be considered a cornered dog jumping over the wall? The curse rune had shattered a spell, but it wasn't a star or white star, it was the lowest level planet. Among Lin Moyu's spells, there was only one planet-level spell, the soul pacifying spell learned from Antares. Its fusion degree was a pitiful 20%, with no hope of ever advancing to star level. Lin Moyu couldn't remember how long it had been since he last paid attention to it. With his current abilities, he didn't need any soul pacifying spell to split off a bit of his soul. He could do it with just a thought. The soul pacifying spell had been completely abandoned. Who would have thought it would now become a target for the curse rune? The spell planet could not withstand the curse rune and directly shattered. Lin Moyu watched this scene, feeling quite helpless. I don't know if you'll appear again in the future. I really don't know what game you're playing. Appearing again and again, failing again and again. I really don't know who cast this curse. Lin Moyu muttered to himself. Infinite fusion whooshed over, circling around Lin Moyu. It seemed very happy, waiting for Lin Moyu's praise. Lin Moyu reached out and gently patted it. Good job, go rest now. Infinite fusion understood and transmitted feelings of joy before whooshing back to the highest point of the soul world. It was still high above everything else. Even though the spells had sublimated to white stars, they were still under its command. Lin Moyu then began to examine the newly fused curse spell. Lin Moyu felt the effects of the time curse spell. Although it didn't specify its exact power, it was clear that it could easily kill opponents of the same level. It might even be possible to kill opponents of higher levels. 24 hours, 1440 minutes, accelerated by 1000 times, equals 1.4 minutes, or 86.4 seconds. In other words, the total damage that would have been endured over 24 hours would now be partially unleashed within 86.4 seconds. The combined damage would be astonishing. However, time acceleration would conflict with the second effect. Once time acceleration is used, the overall weakening of the target would be nullified. In other words, time acceleration is a choice between damaging the enemy and controlling the enemy. But for Lin Moyu, the most important aspect of this spell is providing a reference for the laws of time, rather than killing enemies. There are many ways to kill enemies, this one is not particularly crucial. In comparison, the laws of time are much more important. All spells had completed their sublimation, and the soul world had returned to calm. The soul observed its own soul world, examining the world tree. Vaguely, Lin Moyu felt that his soul world seemed somewhat different. The soul world was filled with vibrant life. Even the rule world of a supreme didn't seem to have this kind of vitality. In comparison, his soul world was more like a real world. He glanced at the world tree again. The world tree had already produced many flower buds, which were about to bloom, but Lin Moyu knew it was still far from full bloom. Next to the flower buds hung immature fruits, with only one appearing slightly more mature, but it still needed time, which couldn't be rushed. Next, it's time to summon the Undead Legion and see how much the number has increased. Lin Moyu felt a bit excited. The Undead Legion was his foundation, and he was full of anticipation for the increase in numbers after advancing to the divine realm. He opened his eyes and saw a pair of divine eyes looking at him. Lin Moyu stood up and bowed to Star Elder. "Thank you, Star Elder, for your protection." Star Elder chuckled. "Thank me for what? This old man didn't do anything. As long as I'm here, unless the human race is overrun, no one will disturb you." Lin Moyu humbly said, "With Star Elder guarding the human race, how could it be overrun?" This statement was sincere but also carried a hint of probing. After all, Lin Moyu was only guessing about Star Elder's existence and wasn't entirely sure. Star Elder squinted at Lin Moyu. "Little guy, trying to get information out of me?" Lin Moyu openly admitted, "You have sharp eyes." Star Elder wasn't displeased. "My identity is different. I can defend but not conquer. The outside world still relies on you young people. Especially you. You should know what burden you carry." Lin Moyu nodded. "I understand." Star Elder waved his hand. "You've already broken through to the divine realm. If you want to go back yourself. There's no use staying here." Lin Moyu said, "I still have some matters to attend to. I'll trouble you for a bit longer. Suit yourself." Star Elder turned his head and resumed his fishing. Lin Moyu found an open space and summoned a skeleton god general. The spell linkage was immediately activated, and one by one, skeleton god generals, death dragon knights, and legion rulers appeared around him. The summoning speed was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds had appeared. The benefits of spell linkage were fully displayed. Lin Moyu only needed to start the process, and the rest took care of itself. The White Star-level skeleton god generals emitted an astonishing aura. Their realm had reached the 6th tier of the divine realm, just a step away from the 7th tier. They were entirely white, as pure as snow. It was a strange feeling, seeing a holy aura emanating from a terrifying skeleton. It was as if the skeleton before him was not from hell but an angel from heaven. The undying law flowed through the skeleton god general. The power of life surrounded its body, bringing strong vitality and giving the skeleton god general amazing regenerative abilities. On the skeleton god general's sword, a layer of gray light flowed, representing the power of death. The skeleton god general's attacks would carry the perfect power of death, with astonishing corrosiveness. With the power of the undying law, even though the skeleton god general had only advanced by one tier, Lin Moyu felt it could rival ordinary high-tier divine realm beings. His gaze then turned to the Death Dragon Knight. The Death Dragon Knight was tall and mighty, over 100 meters high, making the 5-meter-tall skeleton god general beside it look insignificant. The Death Dragon Knight was also surrounded by the undying law, but it had an additional trace of rule power. This indicated that the Death Dragon Knight had reached the 7th tier of the divine realm, entering the high-tier category. Needless to say, the Legion ruler, as a commander, would reach the 8th tier of the Divine Realm as long as it had a sufficient army. And the Skeleton King was at the 9th tier of the Divine Realm. As for whether it had reached the peak, Lin Moyu felt there was no problem. With his various amplifications, even if it wasn't at the peak, it wouldn't be far off. If this continues, once I advance a few more tiers, the Skeleton King will reach the Beyond Realm. A Divine Realm being killing a Beyond Realm being, wouldn't that be too shocking? Lin Moyu laughed inwardly, imagining a Divine Realm being making a Beyond Realm being flee in panic. What a spectacular scene that would be. Now it was just a matter of waiting to see how many Undead Legion members he could ultimately summon. Ahem. A cough interrupted Lin Moyu's thoughts. Star Elder had unknowingly looked over, his eyes still filled with lingering astonishment. Are you a summoner? Star Elder asked with some surprise. Lin Moyu nodded, sort of, but I'm not entirely sure myself. Star Elder shook his head, it doesn't matter. How many of these guys can you summon? The number summoned had already exceeded 10,000. But the summoning clearly hadn't stopped and was still continuing. Lin Moyu said, I don't know how many I can summon either. I'll only know when it stops. Star Elder raised an eyebrow. Spell linkage, how many stars is your spell? Lin Moyu didn't hide it, 9 stars. Star Elder's expression immediately became exaggerated. His mouth slowly opened, growing larger and larger, as if he wanted to eat someone. His expression seemed to become extremely excited, his entire face trembling and twitching. Lin Moyu asked, are you alright? Star Elder finally managed to say, 9 stars, there really is a 9-star spell. Lin Moyu found it strange, shouldn't there be others with 9-star spells? I've heard that 10 stars is the legend. Nonsense, Star Elder interrupted Lin Moyu, his usual calm and slow speech replaced by excitement. Who told you 10 stars is a legend? 9 stars is already a legend. No, not just 9 stars, even 8 stars are a legend. Even 7-star spells are achieved through special methods. Be honest, is your 9-star spell original? Lin Moyu confidently replied, yes, it's original. All his spells were taken from the skill space one by one, so how could they not be original? Star Elder excitedly exclaimed, good, good, very good. When you can advance to the Beyond Realm, come here. I have something good for you. Remember, this thing concerns whether you can break through to the Supreme Realm in the future. You must come back. Faced with Star Elder's repeated instructions, Lin Moyu immediately agreed. When it comes to breaking through to the Supreme Realm, how could he not agree? The spell linkage continued, and the summoning never stopped. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Lin Moyu kept summoning batches of skeleton god generals, death dragon knights, and legion rulers. This place wasn't the starry sky, and space was limited. First to reach full capacity were the legion rulers. At the Divine King Realm, the number of legion rulers was 1 million, and at the Divine Supreme Realm, the number increased to 2 million. However, the number of legion rulers couldn't be used as a standard, they were originally the smallest group. Pure legion rulers were useless, the key was still the skeleton god generals and death dragon knights. Both spells had been fused, and Lin Moyu couldn't estimate how many there would be. Star Elder even stopped fishing, squatting on the lost stone he usually sat on, staring at Lin Moyu without blinking. His eyes were glowing, full of shock. He kept muttering, amazing, there are still such people in the great world. Too abnormal, really too abnormal. How can anyone play like this? It's unplayable. Fortunately, he's from the human race. If he were from an enemy race, even 10 Xiao Zhanshan wouldn't be enough. Xiao Zhanshan, you're lucky not to be born in the same era as this little monster, or you wouldn't have had a chance. No, those guys wouldn't have had a chance either. My human race is really going to unify the great world. Xiao Zhanshan, what you couldn't achieve, someone finally can. Lin Moyu heard these mutterings and realized that Star Elder didn't have much respect for Xiao Zhanshan. Lin Moyu realized that Star Elder and Xiao Zhanshan might be from the same era. Xiao Zhanshan's era was 100,000 years ago. A supreme can't live for 100,000 years, but Star Elder seemed to have lived for more than 100,000 years. Is Star Elder a supreme? The thought arose and was immediately dismissed. Star Elder wasn't a supreme. Saint Hao had said before that Star Elder was very special. In Lin Moyu's understanding, Star Elder might not be a supreme, but he should have combat power comparable to a supreme and some characteristics only supremes have, like an extremely long lifespan. After half a day, the Death Dragon Knights also reached full capacity. But the spell linkage continued, and the skeleton god generals kept increasing at a steady pace. The number of Death Dragon Knights surged to 100 million, 10 times more than at the Divine King Realm. If they hadn't been fused, That would be 100 million bone dragons and 100 million death knights. 100 million death dragon knights, commanded by the legion rulers, with 100,000 in each team, can form 1,000 teams. With 2 million legion rulers, just 1,000 teams are still a drop in the bucket. Even adding the skeleton god generals, the number of teams won't increase much, far from utilizing all 2 million legion rulers. It seems the number of the undead legion can still increase. This isn't the limit. Maybe. Lin Moyu had a guess. Maybe when the legion rulers reach the Beyond Realm, they could be nurtured a second time with the World Flower to gain intelligence. Then it would be the real formation of the undead legion. Now, without intelligence, the legion rulers still needed him to personally control them. Even if they formed teams, it was just to utilize the legion ruler's combat power, not a real undead legion. In his imagination, a real undead legion should have independent combat capabilities and always exist. He would only need to give an order, and the undead legion would automatically decide how to execute it, without him having to control every step. So, intelligence was needed. Just like the legions he had seen in the mysterious manor and ancient tombs. They all had their own intelligence. Not only the commanders could think independently, but even some soldiers had wisdom. This was his goal. Little guy, have your dragon knights reached full capacity? Star Elder's voice suddenly came. Lin Moyu nodded, yes, they have. Star Elder asked, how many in total? 100 million. Hearing this number, Star Elder's voice trembled, 100 million high-tier divine supremes. Those races can't fight anymore. They can't even gather 100 million high-tier divine supremes combined. If there were no beyond and supreme beings, just these 100 million dragon knights would be enough to flatten all races. Suddenly, Star Elder changed his tone, come, let's test the strength of these guys and see if they are just for show. Star Elder raised his hand and gently pressed. A vast power of rules surged out, forming a virtual arena. Then Star Elder lightly tapped a few times, and several runes flew from his fingers onto the arena. The space of the arena expanded instantly. Although it seemed to have a diameter of only a few dozen meters, its internal space was incredibly vast. Star Elder casually completed all this, the whole process natural and effortless, making Lin Moyu marvel. Actually, Lin Moyu could do it now, but not as effortlessly as Star Elder. It would take some effort. Star Elder said softly, put the dragon knights in, let me test them. Lin Moyu nodded and released a death dragon knight into the arena. The over 100-meter tall death dragon knight shrank rapidly upon entering the arena, occupying only a small area. Star Elder said grumpily, who are you looking down on? Put more in. Lin Moyu thought for a moment, I also want to test the new spell. I'll put a team in. Star Elder nodded, that would be even better. Lin Moyu released a full 100,000 death dragon knights. They rushed into the arena, occupying nearly half the space. Then he released a legion ruler, assigning all 100,000 death dragon knights under its command. The legion ruler's command ability activated, and its aura began to rise sharply. Lin Moyu also took the opportunity to check the abilities of the legion ruler and death dragon knights. Legion ruler. Level, Divine Supreme Tier 8. Command units, 100,000. Ability, Command. Command, can command the undead legion, forming an independent army. 1. Can heal its own legion. 2. Can use Undying Flame to resurrect its legion. 3. Can gather the power of the entire legion to deliver a fatal blow, with a cooldown of 1 minute. The legion ruler's defense reached Divine Supreme Tier 8. Before activating its command ability, its attack power wasn't strong. But once the command ability activated, gathering the power of its entire legion, it became a genuine Divine Supreme Tier 8 warrior. Additionally, it could heal the entire legion and use Undying Flame to resurrect its legion. Combined with the Undying Undead and Undying Lich, the legion's combat power would greatly increase. If it had intelligence, it would be an incredibly terrifying undead legion. The fatal blow could even surpass its own level, fighting across tiers. The White Star level legion ruler's fatal blow cooldown was reduced to 1 minute, making it even more powerful. The attributes of the Death Dragon Knight also appeared in Lin Moyu's mind. Death Dragon Knight. Level, Divine Supreme Tier 7. Ability, Dragon Breath, sprays highly corrosive dragon breath, causing massive damage to enemies. Ability, Charge, can charge at a target, with a maximum distance of 1 million kilometers and a maximum speed of 300,000 kilometers per second. The advancement from Divine King to Divine Sovereign brought a significant boost. Although the Death Dragon Knights retained the abilities of the two fused units, their effectiveness was greatly enhanced. The Dragon Breath now contained the perfected Undying Law, which was pure death power. The power of death could corrode everything, making the dragon breath incredibly powerful. Their charge reached the speed of light, and in the absence of spatial constraints, light speed was the fastest known speed in the great world. At 300,000 kilometers per second, their speed surpassed that of divine sovereigns. Being chased by them would be an unimaginable nightmare. The Legion ruler led 100,000 Death Dragon Knights, forming a simple yet complete undead legion. Star Elder chuckled, and a phantom appeared on the stage. The phantom was a clone of Star Elder, and from its aura, it had reached the 9th tier of the Divine Sovereign Realm. It seemed that the 9th tier of the Divine Sovereign Realm was 1 tier higher than the Legion ruler and 2 tiers higher than the Death Dragon Knights. However, it couldn't completely crush them. They were all high-tier Divine Sovereigns, with differences, but not that significant. A difference of 1 or 2 tiers could be fought with dozens or hundreds, but now it was 1 against 100,000, making the outcome uncertain. Star Elder whispered, "I won't hold back." He controlled his clone and directly attacked. Countless starlights gathered above the clone's head, instantly transforming into countless starlight arrows that rained down on the undead legion. Lin Moyu simultaneously issued a command, and the Death Dragon Knights instantly charged. They moved as if teleporting, surrounding Star Elder's clone in an instant, forming layers upon layers, impenetrable. Dragon breath spewed out, engulfing Star Elder. Star Elder's clone was enveloped in starlight, standing motionless within the dragon breath, unharmed. The starlight arrows fell, causing the Death Dragon Knights to collapse one after another. In an instant, at least several thousand Death Dragon Knights were killed by the starlight arrows. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. The Starlight Law is so powerful. The Starlight Law was considered a second-tier law, known for its strong endurance but insufficient attack power. Unexpectedly, in Star Elder's hands, its power was so great. Star Elder squinted. The power of a law depends on who uses it. Any law, even a third-tier one, can be powerful if used well. He was somewhat smug. For example, the Starlight Law has strong endurance and low consumption, allowing for prolonged combat. Its weakness is insufficient power. If it can be fused with another law, like the Metal Law, its power can be greatly enhanced. As he spoke, he didn't stop his actions. Another large area of starlight fell, and in less than 2 seconds, the Undead Legion had lost more than a quarter of its members. Lin Moyu then noticed that the Starlight Law indeed contained a trace of golden light. This was not a pure Starlight Law but a composite law, with the Metal Law fused into it. Star Elder continued, "Actually, other laws can also be fused to achieve special effects, such as..." He suddenly stopped speaking. The Legion ruler raised its battle blade, and a gray flame burst from the tip. The previously dead Death Dragon Knights were resurrected in the flames. Star Elder looked at Lin Moyu strangely. "These things can't be killed?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "Of course not, they're just hard to kill." Indeed, they were hard to kill. The Legion ruler controlled the undying flame, which had the ability to resurrect its Legion members. Additionally, the undying undead could be reborn 6 times every 90 seconds. If the undying Lich was summoned, they could be resurrected once more. In other words, without the Legion ruler, to kill a Death Dragon Knight, one would need to kill it 8 times within 90 seconds, with the 8th time being the final death. If the Legion ruler's resurrection ability was included, it was unknown how many times they would need to be killed. Even Lin Moyu couldn't calculate it. So when Lin Moyu said they were hard to kill, he was being honest. Star Elder snorted, "What's so hard to kill? Let's see how many times you can resurrect." The Starlight Law changed, and the starlight arrows turned into fireballs. The Starlight Law enveloped in flames instantly engulfed the entire stage. The flames continuously damaged the Death Dragon Knights, unlike before when they were instantly killed. White light rose from the Death Dragon Knights, and the Legion ruler began healing them. The flames burned fiercely, and the Legion ruler's healing was rapid, maintaining a delicate balance. Star Elder's expression changed again, cursing, "This thing can heal too." Lin Moyu nodded. "It does have some healing ability." This wasn't just some healing ability, it was almost heaven-defying. In just a few seconds, Star Elder realized that relying on continuous damage couldn't kill the Undead Legion. To eliminate the Undead Legion, one needed instant burst power, and it had to be sustained. He changed his tactics again, and the Starlight Law changed once more. The Starlight Law enveloped in flames now had a touch of water light. Water and fire collided, causing intense changes and exploding. The starlight shattered, and countless explosions occurred on the stage. The Death Dragon Knights were blown to pieces, with tens of thousands killed in an instant. The Legion ruler raised its battle blade again, and the undying flame flew out, resurrecting the Death Dragon Knights. Then it suddenly swung its blade at Star Elder's clone. A fatal strike. Gathering the power of 100,000 Death Dragon Knights, the space was shattered by this strike. Star Elder's expression changed, wanting to escape the encirclement, but found there was nowhere to go. The defense woven by the Starlight Law was torn to pieces, and the fatal strike broke through the Starlight Law. Dragon breath immediately clung to Star Elder, emitting light smoke. Star Elder's clone glowed with a yellowish light, which flowed like water, covering his entire body and expelling the dragon breath. Very strong attack, already reaching the 9th tier of the Divine Sovereign Realm, Star Elder commented from outside the stage. Lin Moyu smiled, "You're still the best." Star Elder heard the flattery in Lin Moyu's words and snorted, "Watch closely, the real killer move is coming." Starlight explosion. Star Elder's clone clapped its hands, causing a loud bang. Countless starlights shot out from his hands, enveloping the entire stage, and then exploded. The starlight contained not only the metal law but also the water and fire laws. These two laws caused a second explosion, further increasing the power of the spell. The explosion engulfed the entire stage, filling every corner of space. The Undead Legion was completely shattered in the explosion, collapsing one after another. Even the Legion ruler couldn't withstand the explosion, falling after being hit several times. Star Elder laughed, "See, even though you have many, if you encounter a true expert, even a 9th tier Divine Sovereign, you..." He stopped mid-sentence. The undead that had just been killed all revived, looking completely unharmed. Lin Moyu casually said, "They're a bit hard to kill." As he spoke, the newly revived Legion ruler swung its blade at Star Elder's clone again. The clone's defense was broken once more, and Star Elder was momentarily flustered, quickly raising his defense again. Star Elder frowned, "How many times can you resurrect?" Lin Moyu thought for a moment, 8 times, I think." Star Elder was speechless for a moment, 8 times. He would have to use that level of spell 8 times in a row. This wasn't a small spell. Such large-scale spells consumed a lot of energy. Star Elder waved his hand, "Enough, let's stop here."